Welcome, everybody, to the Candle Enthusiast. I am your host, Shane Carlson, and this is Smell It Sunday on Aromatically Speaking, my secondary channel here on YouTube, but you already know that. Smell It Sunday? What's that? That's a live stream. That's a live stream where we sit down and we talk about candles, aroma, nostalgia. Yeah, good amount of nostalgia. Maybe sometimes we talk about adventure. We're going to be talking about adventure a whole lot more real soon. And we're back on the porch, and I am trying my best to control myself because I had some audio issues, and it's all good now. But here's the thing. We're going to be talking about Yankee Candle today. Yankee Candle on Memorial Day weekend, a couple weekends back, is usually when they have their annual fall preview. They usually release 4 out of the eventual 8, 9, 10 eventual autumn fragrances. And because of COVID this year, they've rightfully, they canceled. And I'm glad they're not doing it just on the website, because all retail is closed. The Yankee Candle Village is closed to the public. The good news is that things seem to be progressing, and that maybe the retail stores will be open soon. And as soon as the Yankee Candle Village is open to the public, I will be there, and I will have my camera with me. So we are going live, so I'm going to pull you folks up, because that's always the first step, right? And I want to see everyone in the chat area. If you're available, speak up, because today we're going to be looking at a lot of images, which means I'm going to have my eyes already on the screen, so I'll be able to answer some questions. Welcome everyone to the chat room. Let's jump right into it. So it's not a huge secret. With a little bit of investigative research, you'll be able to find out what is on the lineup as far as scents, fragrances for Yankee Candle for the remainder of 2020. This is going to include US releases and additional UK releases. If you look in the description section of my recent Yankee Candle videos, you'll see the whole list, and I'll update it as time goes on, because they always surprise us with a few things. Hi Shane, how's it going? Thanks for going live. You're very welcome. Sensational Smells. That's quite a name. I like it. Teresa, Cassidy, Morgan, Carol, welcome. We're gonna let the people trickle in, because I didn't announce that I was going live today, because we've been having some lag issues. So I'm going old school. I'm directly connected to Ethernet, so let's hope that we don't have any lagging today. But please, in the chat area, in caps, just type lag if the video is lagging, because that'll help me fix it. I'll have to find out what the other problem would be if it's not the internet, but also if there's any other issues. The audio is going to sound a little bit rough. My microphone, it's here today. The cord is broken. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Popping in to say hi. I will be watching on my TV more than my phone, so I may not be able to chat, says Penny. Well, that's perfectly fine. Take a picture, Penny, of yourself watching the Candle Enthusiast on your TV. Always love seeing those. And William Brainerd in the house. William, what do you think of the hair? This is pandemic hair we got going on here. Maybe a little bit of Jack White if I part it in the middle. Amy and Pug Life. All right, I think we have enough folks in the chat room. Let's do this. Are we ready? All right, so the autumn collection this year is called, are we ready? Come on. let yourself get nostalgic. Let all the seriousness of your Sunday go away and dig back deep into that childlike wonder. It's called the collection Campfire Nights. That's right. In fact, it might be called Bonfire Nights, not Campfire Nights. Bonfire Nights, just like last year's Farmers Market collection. Um, they're sticking with this collection name theme, and they've been doing this for 3 or 4 years now, on and off. But I like it when they do that because there's a solid theme. This way, it feels like the fragrances can work together if you want to burn one or two together, or if you burn them all the way through the season, you feel like there's a progression and you're still staying in the same aromatic story. So let us, I said let us jump in 5 times, but you know how it is. We're going to do a little transition. I'm going to say that all again because the audio was not working. There they are right there. All 6 of the Bonfire Candle scents right there. I know you can't read them, but we're going to zoom in. We're going to look in close. We're going to, figure out a little bit of the fragrance notes and see if we can kind of figure out what these, what concepts these may be conveying. So there will be other fragrances for sure. There's usually an online exclusive that pops up sometime in like August, maybe early September, right around the Halloween preview party. And then, and I know of a couple others that are have been announced for the UK. So usually, if they're not always, but if they're released in the UK, there's at least some of them that we see here in the US. Or if you go to your Yankee Candle outlet, you can find outlet candles that have been rejected for one reason or another that were meant to be shipped abroad. Now, because they have a plant or a factory abroad now, they you see less and less of that. But still, every now and then. So here is the UK by the labels, those nice, beautiful, film aspect ratio labels that we, talk about nostalgia, the ones that we really know and love, that shape. However, if you want to look on the bright side here, take a very close look at these labels. And when we look at the US labels, you're going to see that you're getting all of the photo. Nothing is going to be cropped. The label is just going to have a graphic on top, and the label is going to be smaller. We'll talk about that when we see them up close. The cops are not coming for me. I hope. I hope. All right, so this is a beautiful spread of 3 of the fragrances. It's even hard for me to read at this point, but we're still going to zoom in closer. We have crisp campfire apples, pecan pie bites, and whipped pumpkin spice. Now pay attention to these names because I want to get your guys' opinion of, do you feel like these are refreshing reconstructions of fragrances that we see typically every year? Or are you the type that want something completely new outside the box. Like, there's tons of pumpkin spice, there's tons of caramel pecan treat candles, and baked apple fragrances. Do you want something new, or do you want something that's reconstructed with Yankee's typical autumn fragrances? You can answer that now. You don't really need to think about it too hard. I think you can tell, right, off the bat what kind of person you are. Here's two more. Autumn Embers and A Night Under the Stars. Now, again, like I said, look close at those labels. Now, let me go back to the last one. If you look close at those labels, you see the graphic on top, the silhouette of the trees. That's it. I mean, that underneath that graphic is the entire photo that you see on the European releases. So yes, it's a bummer to some of us that the image is smaller, but at least the images are not being cropped, because that was just, it was horrible, especially with classic Yankee fragrances, the ones that have been around for decades. To cut the image, to crop it, I just felt like was, just such a horrible thing to do. In fact, at the time, in 2016, when they changed the labels, all of my larger labels suddenly be like collector's pieces to me. I couldn't burn them. So I had to go out and buy new ones. So, because if the labels were going to stay that way, I would never be able to burn those older, bigger labels. Alright, so we're going to start going through the fragrances now. And I do have you guys pulled up, so I will try to control my ADHD and be burning. Elmwood Sage. Huh? Elmwood Sage. Slightly underwhelming, but still excited to try them. What else do we have here? I think I prefer a mix of both classic and novel autumn scents to choose from. I think most of us probably fit into that category. I like the traditional autumn scents, but I don't mind the odd new type of fragrance. Room for both. Okay, so it seems like a lot of you folks are on the same page, and ironically, that's where I fall. So there is a close-up of the label. We're going to move even closer, but I want to read this description. I put these little slides together. A Night Under the Stars. A woody, spicy fragrance that sparkles with a constellation of rose, leather, and driftwood. Constellation, huh? I love it. Yankee's getting a little bit more poetic with these names. A woody, spicy fragrance of rose. It sounds like we're going to have a heavy, musky fragrance here, which, if we go back year by year, we had Warm Luxe Cashmere was the musky one year, and it seems like there's always one that fits in. 2016, we had Crisp Fall Night and even Autumn Gathering that were both very musky. But with that driftwood, I think that's interesting, because I think that what they may be implying there is that, that this may be taking, a camping by the lake or stream or the river approach. I don't think they would mean the ocean here with all of those trees, but a woody, spicy. So woody and driftwood, again, just emphasizing that. Spicy, I would imagine we're dealing with some baking spices there, maybe some nutmeg, because nutmeg usually has that wooden quality. So if you really put those together, the rose, the leather, again, floral, brand new leather, musky, brand new pair of shoes or boots out of a box, we can kind of start putting this together. But let's take an extra close look at the label. So what you'll notice is, now that we're up close, that graphic on top, you see how there's that graphic? It just it kind of transitions, it dissolves into the full photo. The photo is as if you're in the forest in the evening, laying on your back, looking up at those tall coniferous trees. Those look like big, pine, spruce, whatever trees. They're ancient up in the mountainous region, especially here in New York, the Adirondacks, the Catskills, the Berkshire Mountains, but those could be anywhere. I actually found the stock. Actually, is that? Yeah, if you look, you may not believe me, but if you look closely, this is going to be the stock photo that they used for that label. A little bit of trial and error. You can find these sorts of things. So I'm going to transition one more time. Notice the pattern of the trees. You guys probably don't care about this stuff, but I do. Bonfire Nights, a night under the stars. So is this a summer candle, or is this an autumn candle? What's your vote? It's nice to have what I call autumn phase 1, where it's that transition from, August into the harvest season. As long as there's not too many. One year, I think it was 2 years ago, we saw Tranquil Mist that fell into that category. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to catch your comments. Yeah, Margaret is agreeing with Diane, saying it sounds like a cologne aftershave type smell, which I'm not usually keen on. If they take it easy on the things like vetiver and the bergamot, those are not both in crisp fall night, but it's usually those sandalwoods, the citrus bergamot, and the very earthy, of the earth, pulled out of the ground earthy vetiver that typically gives it the cologne profile. So let's move on to the next fragrance here. Just take one last look at that guy. We got to make this conversation last here. All right, so the next one on the list is going to be Pecan Pie Bites. First thing I thought of when I saw this was caramel pecan pie. Truly one of my favorites. It was a part of a trio that came out in 2013. Don't quote me on that. Caramel pecan pie was released with whoopie pie, and what was the other one? Something pie, whoopie pie. Oh boy. Caramel pecan pie, whoopie pie. What's the... Why can't I think of it at the moment? So this label is just, I'm going to zoom in, but very hard to, I mean, that's a pretty close shot, and I got my eyes close to the screen. I still can't. And what happens if you can't tell what's on the label? I always searches for the name of the fragrance, and I think this is what's going to happen this year. People are going to... Every candle is called Bonfire Nights because the smallest text on the label is the candle name. They usually fix this by, they usually have that little banner that runs around the neck of the jar, and they decided against that this year. So I can't tell you how many times I've looked at these candles and said, what's this one called? Pecan Pie Bites. That name has to be bigger, especially if you can't really get a good visual of the label. You're shopping, at a Yankee Candle, and you're looking at hundreds of candles at one time, and your eyes have to skim, like you're, searching for a magazine, searching for a book, back in the day, searching for CDs. And, you know, that's, if your eye doesn't catch something to hold on to, it's a little bit of a problem. But what we have, little treats, these little mini treats, like a cinnamon roll, cinnamon bun topped with pecans and caramel. Usually Yankee, you know, they use this descriptor all the time, pecan praline. It's just a, you know, I think all of us would probably know what a pecan praline is, but the way it usually smells is, you know, that really, really caramel, nutty, rich, gooey caramel. How does Yankee describe this fragrance? Miniature pastries, just right for sharing. Wait. Miniature pastries, just right for sharing? Like sharing like a platter? I would share a platter. I wouldn't share my mini little treat. Miniature pastries, just right for sharing with this thing that's loaded with toasted pecans. All right. It's getting close. Or, you know, look, we got in close. You know, here they are. Actually, those look like walnuts, but essentially, I think this is what we're dealing with here. I could be completely wrong, because those don't look like cinnamon rolls to me, and they definitely look like mini cinnamon rolls or sticky buns on the label. But what do we think? To me, I am on board with this one, because the caramel pecan pie and the whoopie pie and whatever that third one was. And Williams says it's Life of Pie. No, it wasn't Life of Pie. What on earth was that pie? I will get it. But I love that candle. It was so intense. Back when I was in the heart of Napa Valley, I was living in a huge house, huge open concept house. Had to be over 25 feet tall at the center of this house. And let me tell you, that caramel pecan pie could fill the whole place in an instant. And Williams saying, I will Google. Hopefully he'll find it. All right. Let's move on here. Okay, this is where we start to get getting a little romantic here. We'll zoom in close there, but we see a man and a woman snuggled up on the. They have some marshmallows on a stick over their campfire, and he's got, you know, look at those jeans. We'll see closer, but yeah, he's looking, or maybe that's her. That is her. She's wearing the cool jeans and the cool boots with it. Let's read what this is all about. So we have a fantasy candle here, warm and cozy. Warm and cozy. Doesn't tell us much about the fragrance, but you know, we can assume maybe that this would be like a soft blanket or clean cotton. We had Warm Cashmere, that was a UK release in 2017. Let's see what this says. I really haven't read these fragrance notes. I swear to you. I actually just threw these slides together and I didn't even read them. A beautiful bonfire night ends wrapped up in a soft blanket as you crisp, fresh notes of cedar, cashmere, and eucalyptus. So, you know, I was waiting for that, you know. So we are going to get yet another musky candle, but a softer musky, a white musk, a little bit more gentle. You know, I wish I saw some citrus notes in here, but these aren't the full fragrance notes, obviously. The only thing here, you swap out that what they, as they call it, the fresh notes of cedar, you swap that out with something like, that's when we would get more of an indoor, luxurious, you know, that really nice, freshly laundered big fluffy blanket candle, but that cedar will give us that split firewood smell, which could in turn flip this and take us into the great wide open. And that eucalyptus, although being a very wonderful smell to use as detergents and fabric softeners, we have a lot of outdoor suggestions here with eucalyptus. First, it's herbal, so it's going to start introducing some green vegetation outside, but also eucalyptus has a little bit of that pine cooling sensation. Doesn't smell like pine needles, but it smells like how pine needles smell citrusy. There's a little bit of that rosemary citrusy, and with eucalyptus you also get that slightly mentholated feel. The mentholated, great for me with outdoor fragrances. It adds a little bit of a cooling sensation to the aroma, which, as I always say, it's like being out in the cold in the comfort of your warm home. But I really, look over there. A soft blanket as you breathe in crisp, fresh notes. How is... Okay, let me read this one more time, because I really look at these carefully, okay? So wrapped up in as you breathe in crisp, key word, as you breathe in crisp, fresh notes of cedar. How is cedar ever crisp? So right there, they're sneaking in an ingredient, and I'm telling you right now, it's citrus in some form, because crisp is the only way you're going to get crisp and brightness is through citrus. So I'm guessing with this cedar wood and campfire theme, the citrus is going to be a lemon zest, lemon, essential oil, or I shouldn't say essential oil, but lemon essence. The oils that exude from the zest. This will give that furniture polish. Pledge furniture polish spray. That would be my guess. Or they could be suggesting crisp and giving us something a little bit more floral, even though that really doesn't make sense. There could be a lavender here, a jasmine, to provoke this idea of the night. Although, when you look at that label, do you think of night? It looks like a light, but let's get in closer so you can see. Yeah, behind, you can kind of see, like, daylight. But, it is what it is. Who would be roasting marshmallows in the middle of the day? I would. But I really do like that label. Seriously, in all honesty, I'm not usually a fan when they put actual people on Yankee Candle labels. I know that sounds strange, but it pulls the illusion of the fragrance for some way. Mainly because, like, those two people right there, I don't know those people. That's not my jacket. That's not my girlfriend. So I think the other one that always kind of bothered me was Christmas tree with the family, or bundle up with the family kind of jumping for joy in the snow. That's a small... I'm really being picky here, but my point is I really do like this label, and I think what makes it stronger is that they are purposely cropping out the faces, the heads, again, to help us substitute those people for ourselves, so we can put ourselves into this bonfire night experience. We're gonna move on here. This picture looks funny, how they cropped out the people, says Marie. I'll admit, there's some... It could be taken silly, but I actually enjoy it. I think there's other ways of silhouette which would hide a little bit more and also create that nighttime feel. Carol says we are welcome, Laura, and Marie. It really is perfect for summer. Pug says, I can't tell where her leg begins and where it ends. And what is she sitting on? Okay, so at least I'm not the only one who's very analytical with these labels. All right, the next candle is Autumn Embers. And what are we looking at there? Is that a plantain? Is that a plantain with a weird limb with the fire in the background? We'll get in closer, but to be perfectly fair, these are the medium-sized jars, the 14.5 ounces. So there probably will be a little bit more of the photo included on the larger labels, but still. Okay, so Autumn Embers. Okay, we're really digging into this bonfire thing, which makes sense, but let's just hope enough people like the idea of camping in autumn and that they like outdoor notes versus the warm and cozy inside aromas. The fragrance notes, or at least the description by Yankee Candle. The crackling embers of a bonfire bring fall's favorite scents: apple, spice, and a touch of smoky firewood. Trying to think if there's something recently. So they're not saying, no, they are saying smoky. Okay, so it's looking at firewood. Whenever I see firewood, a lot of people assume smoke. It could be unburned logs or split wood, but it's admittedly saying smoky. So that one, to me, is this is the kind of stuff that makes me excited, because I want things that are outside the box. And although smoky is now outside, it does venture away from a lot of people's comfort zone. And and think about it, apple and spice. Okay, so apple, spice, and smoke, we kind of have this roasted or baked apple, right? And that's all it's really telling us. Crackling embers. We have embers in the title, and it's even telling us in the description. So this is ashy, smoky, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be a wet, thick, smoke. A wet campfire kind of smoke. We had what was it? Smoke wasn't smoked. Something amber and incense last year, or was it just, there was another word, amber and incense wasn't in the collection, but it was released last year, and that really didn't smell smoky at all. It was really the smell of the hearth, sans fire, no fire, just the wood, just the ash, which is actually a very pretty sweet smell. Like that old New England fireplace that hasn't been lit in a long. So let's take a look at this label as we move in. So we see someone with a knit sweater, and they have a bundle of wood with some rope or twine, and they're hauling that wood over to the fire pits. And once again, they're just cropped off. They just transition into the horizon, those trees. Autumn embers. Can we even tell if that is a man or a woman? Wouldn't matter, but, and you see the fire is actually not a campfire at all. It's one of those fire pits that we find at Home Depot, those elevated metal fire pits, which is nice, I suppose. This could kind of take me to like renting a cabin in the woods, or not the woods, the apple orchard. Um, you can get, up here in the Hudson Valley, plenty of cabin rentals, and this might recreate that experience. Even looks like the Catskills behind. And I don't know why I included this photo. I was just looking for a reference photo, and I don't know, this guy made me chuckle. I was just thinking, like, this wasn't a stock photo. This is just a real photo of a guy. I'm trying to think of the scenario. Like, is the father taking the picture of his, of his son in this situation? This is just a weird, very weird composition, and but he's in a good mood, so sounds good to me. Hope these come in medium jars. I'm saving my birthday reward for new ones, says Lauren. Lauren, they are. These are actually, the jars we're looking at are medium jars. Yeah, they are not giving up on the medium jars. Yeah, it's, I don't think I've ever purposely, I shouldn't say purposely, I don't think I've ever willingly bought a medium jar unless it was only offered in a medium jar, like the Halloween candles used to be, or the swirl candles. Only because it's like, just the price difference, it's just not worth it, for me. I just spent a couple extra bucks. I'm not suggesting that you guys should feel the same way, but all right, next candle. Crisp campfire apples. So we're getting a lot of that word crisp. We're having, kind of cementing the campfire thing here. And then apples again. So notice how I said baked apples last time. This split filled with wedged apples is over a grill being cooked outdoors. So you wonder how much different could the autumn embers be from this candle. Let's read those fragrance notes here. Description: freshly picked apples cooking over the fire in the crisp night air. I'll tell you my best guess. This one will not be smoky, absolutely not, and this one will be absent of baking spices. You would think this would have baking spices because when you cook apples, you think of baked apples, and like I said, roasted apples. But I think this is kind of a fail-safe for someone who's looking for an apple fragrance, but is not going to be digging the smoky and spicy. So I've been on that one. I think that we won't see. This will just kind of be a fresh, like as they said, fresh picked apple, like Yankee's Macintosh. Maybe there will be some additional notes of like caramel or apple cider in there, minus the cinnamon. A little bit of Mott's apple juice, perhaps. Think of Honeycrisp apple cider that we saw in 17. Whereas the autumn embers, I think, will be more of the autumn embers will be like the cinnamon sugared apple we saw in 2018, which was usually got a little bit of that crushed up atomic fireball action. Get close on the label. Yeah, skillet, fire, grill, trees. Those certainly look spiced and caramelized to me. So I was going to say caramel, or maybe I did. but that would make sense. So, like apple caramel, what do we think of? Apple caramel, the caramel. Was there a wood note on that? On this one? Um, they say cooking over a fire and crisp air night. The wood note could give us the typical wood note, not like cider house. Well, actually, maybe it was cider house last year from the Farmer's Collection. It had a wooden note that reminded me of like apple crates, apple baskets, the actual barn, and in which were they make the apple cider or sell the apples, the farmers markets. But hmm. But if I had to guess, I think I answered my own question. One will be C, one will be fresh and sweet, probably caramel sweet. Crisp Campfire Apples by Yankee Candle, new for 2020. I have not had a chance to say that all year because I did not evaluate most of the spring and summer fragrances. Let us move on to the next fragrance. Here we go. Whipped Pumpkin Spice. Now, last year we had something chai spice, right? What was that one called? Chai spice latte? I think that was it. Spice chai latte. And now we're getting the whipped pumpkin spice. And then in 2018 was what was the beverage there? Wasn't there a beverage? That's at the moment. But on the label, we see 2 mugs filled with this. It doesn't look like latte. Some kind of, it could be coffee with cream topped with some, foamed or frothed milk with some cinnamon sticks and maybe some thinly sliced apples. Looks like there's a ray of sunshine on that label, and that's going to be on a picnic bench. You see the staves of wood. Looks like a towel, like a dish towel or a picnic towel with 2 spoons, I guess, to mix the concoction. Whipped pumpkin spice. So I wonder if there's any chance this could be a pumpkin spice infused apple cider. That would make 3 apples. So let's read the fragrance description. A warm treat to sip and savor with friends. Creamy milk blended with pumpkin and spice with maple. Okay, I was a little bit confused until they threw the maple in there, because a creamy milk blended with pumpkin and spice, that doesn't sound too wonderful. But that maple will give us that decadently sweet, but also how maple syrup has that natural like butter flavor. Sometimes they think, when you put like good maple syrup on breakfast, you're like, did someone add a little bit butter onto my pancakes? No, maple syrup inherently has a flavor. I can't say that I don't know what that's attributed to. I wonder if it's like with wine and it's created during the aging process, but I don't know. So what do we think of that? So pumpkin and spice. It's a big tip. It's not pumpkin spice. Yankee Candle is saying pumpkin and spice. One, if it's a pumpkin spice, it's just going to be cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, and, ginger. Maybe. Yeah, ginger is in pumpkin spice. And you can, but here they're saying pumpkin and spice, which is suggesting that you're going to get roasted pumpkin, pumpkin puree, pumpkin seeds, that fresh you know, sliced open jack-o'-lantern, that gourd with all of the innards. It's if you've ever had that experience, you know how it really is a wonder, you know, an unroasted butternut squash, you know, or a lightly cooked or roasted butternut squash. Uh, not super sweet and actually a little bit tart. So we on board with that. I wonder if there would be some form of coffee or black tea infused in this can. Um, because I just don't think the milk and the spices and even the maple on top of it is going to give us a hearty, realistic beverage. I love beverage themed candles, but I'm not sure. Omega saying, when are these available? That's a great question. As soon as Yankee Candle retail opens, there's always a chance too that they will pop them on the site. It won't be before July 4th. Usually the autumn fragrances uh, hit the shelves after the weekend or the 4th of July or on the weekend of the 4th of July. Whatever weekend people are celebrating the 4th of July, it's usually that Saturday. They're in store and they'll also be on the website. And if we're looking at prior years as examples here, we will be expecting melt cups. We will be seeing tea lights. At least, if not in the US, we'll be seeing it in the UK. We'll be seeing the small jar, the 3.7 ounces, the 14.5 ounce medium jars, the 22 ounce house warmer jar, and you know, they've mixed it up the past couple years with the softer wax, the vegetable wax blend with like the tumblers. The perfect pillar is gone. The single wick tall 20 ounce they're done with, but we usually see those. I don't know how many ounces. So they 8-ounce glass tumblers, single wick. They've been popular. A couple years ago, we saw them kind of in a rocks glass, kind of one of those tapered prisoner glass slash rocks glass. And I don't think anyone really enjoyed those because it seems like candles always burn better in a cylindrical shape. So let's zoom in on this whipped pumpkin spice. We had Luscious Pumpkin Trifle in 2018. We had Sugared Apple Swirl in 2017. And both of those kind of fell into that category of just baking, not baking spice, pumpkin spice. So there are the, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this right. How did I do this wrong? Looks like that's as close as we're gonna get today to that label, but that's a pretty good closeness. And check this out. I couldn't tell when I was if this was actually the stock photo that they used. It's not. Oh geez, I could have swore it was, but I thought they did a little bit of Photoshop on it, but it looks awfully similar. Let's see if I can blow it up a little bit. I mean, that looks tasty. That looks like there's or pumpkin puree in there. Is it not? And we still got the cinnamon. We got that whipped cream that looks a little bit more delicious, which is funny. There's whipped in the title, and we see the whipped cream and yet it's not in the description. No, creamy milk. Okay, I take that back. And because, so that's it. That is the 6 fragrances. We got more to share, but those are the 6 fragrances for the Bonfire collection. So if you're watching this video later, please list in the comments below what are your thoughts. Again, there's no reason to be overly picky if you don't feel like you have to. Always try to look on sort of the brighter side of things. I think it looks like a well-rounded collection. We have more of an atmospheric candle that's still hard to tell if it's going to be cologne driven, but that Under the Stars at Night seems, you know, that's a beautiful, at least for an autumn phase 1. Again, August leading into the harvest season, with, you know, a little bit, you know, just absent of the baking spices, absent of things we normally expect in autumn candles. We could say it's outside the box. We have a beverage themed candle. We have a baked apple. We have the apple spice thing, you know, spice and smoke, which to me is probably the most intriguing of the bunch. And the embers. Oh wait, that was the smoky apple. What am I forgetting? Warm and cozy. So yeah, I just think that there's a great chance for that to be something really fun. Because think about it. Think of all of the warm, fresh linen, fresh cashmere, fresh blanket, clean cotton, all of these country laundry room aromas, you know, the cozy blanket on the couch by the fireplace. All of those candles bring us, at least to me, I mean, it's subjective, but it's safe to say they bring us inside. Where that candle, if you notice, they swapped out the typical sandalwood with this, what was it? It was the cedar. They called it crisp cedar. So that might be an interesting way to take a typical indoor fragrance, flip it, and bring it outside. And the whipped pumpkin spice, you gotta have something pumpkin, right? But the question becomes, because if we, again, you gotta look at the past years, is pumpkin for Yankee Candle Halloween or autumn? Historically, it's autumn, not Halloween. But what we've been seeing a whole lot recently, and we're going to be seeing it again this year, pumpkin is poking its into the Halloween themes, candles. Last year we had Trick or Treat. We always see spiced pumpkin blended with something, layered on top of something. You know, Halloween to me really should be sweet, fun, and nostalgic. You know, it should cater to children, not because they belong to children, but because they should be candles that appeal to the child within us. I think that is the key in Halloween candles work. And if you want to be really bold, do something kind of spooky. But, you know, if you read Yankee Candle's handbook, which I don't think there's a lot of people who've done that, but I've sat down and read Yankee Candle's, you know, corporate handbook, and really in-depth how they define Yankee Candle. And there's this one section that always just shocked me, and that was, it was a list of Yankee Candle is not this, Yankee Candle is not that, Yankee Candle will not do this. And one of them was Yankee Candle will not be mysterious. Or it didn't say will not be. It said Yankee Candle is not mysterious. I talked about this when I evaluated, this would have been 2017, uh, 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 it was dusk. Was it autumn dusk? No, it was Dazzling Red Maple. It was also 2017. And I addressed that situation. Like, why would you not want to be mysterious? Mystery is where all the fun is. So I wonder if that's what we're seeing. Because last year we had a fragrance. I'm going to get back to that point. Halloween, being overly pumpkin. But we also had Haunted Hayride, which was a beautiful fragrance. Beautiful. But if you watch my in-depth vlog of my whole 2 days at the Yankee Candle Village for the Halloween preview party, there was a segment where I asked 3 complete strangers. It was like 3 college students. I sat them down, introduced myself. Well, I introduced myself first. Then I sat them down and I did a blind sniff test. I covered up the labels and I had them smell a series of candles. And, there was really nothing in Haunted Hayride for them to go to or think spooky. They just said it smelled good. And I thought it smelled great. A lot of you said it smells great. It's great. It's great candle. It's great profile. It's well balanced. As far as I know, it's burned well. I mean, I burned my house warmer and I burned the tumbler. But they didn't go to spooky mentally. However, the people that I interviewed who had seen the label, then smelled it, everyone said, oh, this is spooky. This is like being in the woods. This is like being, I remember one young girl saying this was like when Maurice, Belle's father, gets lost in the forest in Beauty and the Beast. So that's right there. That shows you how we use our internal memory. We take the concept where we want it to go. But my point is, it didn't really remind me of Halloween. And Haunted Hayride, something that's really special to me. I love haunted attractions. My brother was actually a very successful builder and owner of many, many different haunted attractions throughout the country, mainly Salem, Massachusetts. He never had a hayride, but we would also go every year, make time to hit up all of these haunts throughout the country. Back in the day, before they were wildly popular, we're talking like the late 90s here, mid to late 90s. And I felt like Haunted Hayride had such an opportunity to give us the fog machine, give us the hay, give us the soil, those tractors, just constantly going through the mud, grass, and digging up the stones, thinking about, what it's like, that smell of truly being outside, not just outside, but in a forest or out in a farm on a cold October night. I thought it was a missed opportunity. Again, like the fragrance, but that is what I feel like Yankee Candle is missing. A truly outdoor, a cold outdoor October night. And there's many ways that can be done. So getting back to that pumpkin thing I was saying, let's take a look at a photo that leaked from Yankee Candle. I don't want to say Yankee Candle UK. Let's just say non-US, because I'm not quite sure Sorry, folks. Sorry, folks. I'm gonna have to be editing this when the stream's over. I don't even know where to go back and begin. Um, did you even hear the? Okay, so I just have to repeat this part. So yeah, that took a long time for me to reconstruct that image. That's about 9% precisely what you see on the label. I don't know how they will crop that for Halloween. What I was saying before, and you hear me, is that I've been saying, other people have been saying, just because maybe it's pumpkin patch, there's a chance it could smell like something else. Again, because Halloween, we want something fun, childish, bubbly, or something spooky. But how could it really be anything else but pumpkin, right? This is not hayride. It's not called hayride. Hayride, I was just saying this. My brother owned more than several haunted houses, haunted attractions throughout the country, mainly in Salem, Massachusetts, and and we would also every single year since we were kids would do a little road trip with our parents to visit hay rides back when haunts were. This was kind of like the golden age of haunts, even though a lot of people will say that's now. I disagree with that, but this was when like having a haunted park like Spooky World in Massachusetts, that was a very rare thing. We had haunted houses, museums, concessions, the hayride. But if this was called hayride, this could truly be an outdoor experience. And like I said before, like going through that hayride. I think I repeated the whole haunted house thing twice. But if this were a strictly pumpkin aroma, like no spice, just you take a pumpkin and you throw it in that blender. Pumpkin puree, pumpkin seeds. That would be useful, wouldn't it? Because you could use that candle to burn alongside your favorite pumpkin spice candles that don't have the pumpkin element in it. A lot of pumpkin spice candles just have the spices and literally no pumpkin. So that would be useful. But again, this is Halloween. So the question is, pumpkins, should they be reserved for autumn or should they be incorporated for Halloween? Or should there be a healthy balance? Music to my ears. Well, I hope that's you're referring to me. I need a pumpkin patch candle for my Halloween collection, says Marie. Yeah, I'm still very excited for this. If the outlets were open, by this time I usually have all of the autumn fragrances in my hand. I also usually am able to hunt down every single Halloween candle, at least by the end of July. And there's a few years I failed to do that. In 2017, I could not get Sweet Seduction, but I got it. What was it? It was 12 hours before the preview part, and so technically I still got it early, but I didn't get it as early as I liked. We got more. We got more. So I told you my guess was that Yankee Candle was going to re-release Happy Halloween, which it was everyone calls it their black licorice candle. But to me, it's like if you had a black licorice root beer with vanilla ice cream, maybe even a splash of Coca-Cola in there, and maybe even some additional spices. Beautiful candle, but it was, if we go back to 2012, 2013, and before, these candles that they call returning classics, returning treasures, not returning treasures, or they did call them returning treasures. I don't call them now. I can't even keep track. They keep changing everything. But they simply were known as treasures. Treasures were fragrance that were classics and or fragrances they brought back for a limited time that were popular in the past. But you could get them all year round. There was a section in your Yankee Candle where you could buy Happy Halloween all year round. You could buy Balsam and Cedar all year round because those were considered to be the Yankee treasures. And but now with they took away Happy Halloween because I think it was too accessible for so long because you could buy it all year round. People saw it every year. The label did change, but it didn't change all that much. I bet you most people didn't even recognize that it changed. And of course, there's a stigma, just like with patchouli. A lot of people just simply don't like black licorice, and I get it. I don't even know how much I like black licorice, but that candle was really special. So my prediction is that if they do a returning classic for Halloween this year, even if they don't call it that, my guess is that they're finally going to bring back Happy Halloween. And as far as Witch's Brew, I think it'll be around. I know a lot of people have a hard time finding it. It sells out on the website really quick, but a lot of folks, meaning the retail stores, they get it in. And if for some reason this year you can't find it on the Halloween preview day, just call Yankee Candle Village in South Deerfield, Massachusetts. You can also try the flagship store in Williamsburg, Virginia, but the Yankee Candle Village in South Deerfield is literally 2 miles away from the Yankee Candle factory. So, and they had hundreds and hundreds of Witch's Brew. And when I found out that people couldn't find them, I'm like, oh my God, they were everywhere last year. But I think it will look exactly the same. It'll be in the house warmer jar, which it was fun to see it one year in that, but typically it's always come in a medium-sized jar, and it's going to have the same label. Again, these are just my predictions. So Witch's Brew, the Pumpkin Patch, Happy Halloween, and I'm losing track here because I had 2 audio tracks on. Pumpkin Patch, Happy Halloween, Witch's Brew. Okay, so what else are we going to see? I don't know if Pumpkin Patch qualifies as a re-release or if it's a brand new candle. And if we knew this, we could make a pretty good educated guess. My guess is that it really will be what Yankee Candle had in the past, a blend of harvest and spiced pumpkin. And that would be a good thing, right? Because if they did that, there has to be a brand new fragrance. There has to be a brand new fragrance. My thing is the pumpkin patches, that may be the new fragrance for this year. Which would mean that there's gotta be another re-release. And I think by asking folks on the Candle Enthusiast Facebook group, if you're not a member, consider joining, and just asking people on Instagram, asking other candle enthusiasts, asking you guys. A lot of people want to see Haunted Hollow come back. Haunted Hollow was a brand new fragrance for 2017. It was only released in a 12-ounce tumbler soft wax, single wick, and well, it was also released in the melt cup as well. But it, you know, what's funny about how much people love that candle was I was overwhelmed with the the audio and the sights of people on the day of its release aiding it. I was just watching people's reactions, smelling it, and I just could not. I, I recorded some of it, but I couldn't share it in the video because I don't want to see, you know. I do those videos for people to celebrate Halloween. I don't want like things to be bummers, so I don't include any of. I don't consider that to be negativity. I just consider that to be, you know, there was a bunch of folks not liking it, and I didn't want to highlight that. But it's amazing when the candle doesn't come back, how much people love it. Same thing with Black Magic. People didn't. It came out in 2015, and I can tell you right now, a lot of you probably didn't even know it was released in 2015 because nobody bought it, and but they took it away, and then guess what? 2 years later, it comes back, or was it 1 year later? I don't know, but and it came in the full size house warmer. So, what else could return? I said Haunted Hollow, which got me kind of excited because I thought of a cool idea. If I could maybe once again you'd hear me there. So I was saying I did a midnight blue, very, very dark inky blue color for the larger picture, but the label I went with the black and white because I think it fits the Haunted Hollow thing. But if you look at that figure, what appears to be a figure, it looks like it could be this woman, long hair, draped in fabrics coming out of the woods, being silhouetted by the moonlight. Under a second look, it could simply just be a tree trunk that has broken in the woods. It's kind of the playing with the idea of like how our eyes play tricks on us when we are in precarious situations, like being in the forest at night. So I think I'm going to continue to do that. I think I'm going to continue to just make these kind of off the cuff, but I'm really going to think about them. Make these Yankee Candle labels, and if not just for fun, maybe with a little bit of your help and with the following that I have and the candle enthusiast community has through the Facebook group and my two channels and my social media, that we can get Yankees' attention. And I don't know. I sent them out a tweet recently. If you guys want to check that out to see what I said, I mean, it's not necessarily mean. It's not necessarily nice. It's meant more to get their attention. You can follow me at Candle on. That's my handle on Twitter to see that post. They usually respond, just not now because of COVID. So I'd be interested to see how they respond when they get back to their full-time social media. Just seem to be doing their campaigning stuff. I want to show you one more thing. I don't know why the audio keeps doing that. I don't want to go into this today. I don't want to get into this today. Plus, it's far too soon. But we've covered enough today too. So when Christmas candle mania begins, which is usually, for some people it's mid-October. For hardcore Halloween people, it starts first. Sometime around then, we'll start discussing Yankee Candle Christmas. Seems to be a lot. There's a lot because there's usually a first initial collection that comes out. Then a month later, the collection usually comes out second week of October. Then there's a second wave in November. There's online exclusives, and then there's always a couple of other surprises. But also there's the UK collection. Sometimes they're duplicates, sometimes there's not. I think one of the best Yankee Candle Christmas fragrances released in probably 5-6 years, one of the best, was Christmas Magic, which was not released in the US. I highly recommend, if you can find that on eBay, find it on Mercari, find it on Facebook Marketplace, that you get your hands on it. It's actually, it seems very simplistic upon first sniff, but there's a lot going on in that candle, and the label is to die for. It's like little Christmas villages. It's absolutely beautiful. But just as a heads up, if you want to read and see what these upcoming Christmas fragrances are for both the US and the UK, check out my recent Yankee Candle videos here on Aromatically Speaking. So there it is. A lot of audio issues on today's live, but we're not done yet, because we still have a boxing. And since we're not doing the Q&A session today, I'm going to go through some of the things you've said. I'm sorry about the audio, folks. It's going to be all chopped up when I'm done. What are the notes on Haunted Hollow? Let's see if I can find out real quick. I have my own database. On my computer. And if you have your own database of Yankee Candles, we're talking about the history of Yankee Candles from like day one, when they were released, when they were retired, when they were re-released, all of these things. Any information, because if it's clear that Yankee Candle, they're not doing their own research. Meaning, when the next generation of Yankee Candle lovers come around and they start asking questions about Yankee Candle's history, no one's going to know. No one is going to know. And yeah. So if I can't make a documentary, I'll compile my notes. Where would I find this? Candle companies. I have a file cabinet on my computer. They're organized. Yankee Candle. There you are. Candles. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Brand book. Dang, it's not there. Okay, let me try one more thing. It's a really good question. I mean, I know it has bergamot. I know it has cinnamon. I know it has spruce. To me, it was more limey than it was bergamot. Tell me, everyone lag if we're lagging still. So if we're still lagging, it's funny, I type in Yankee Candle Haunted Hollow on Google. All I'm seeing are photos and videos of me. Oh, and Doug from Spooky Villages. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find that now. But it just, to me, kind of like you're underneath a spruce tree, like actually camped out underneath like a teepee with a big, blast of mentholated, cool, I shouldn't say cool, mentholated, but cooling pine or spruce needles, some citrus, some spice, a little bit of smoke in there, some cedar. What else are you guys saying? Let's see if we can answer these questions, and then we'll do this unboxing. No lag. All right. Occasional lag here. Occasional lag I can deal, especially when I have like 18 windows opened up on the computer, so I won't complain about that. Let's do this. Now, I had a very friendly gentleman, Connor, contact me about a product that he is making and selling that, from remembering correctly, is available on Amazon, which is pretty cool, right? Prime shipping, 2-day shipping. But if it's available for prime shipping. And the scent of the candle that he was telling me about was something that was right down my alley. I picked this up just the other day from the Candle Enthusiast P.O. Box. If you folks want to ever send anything my way, candle related, anything fun, no more of those spicy gummy bears. I did it once, but anything in that arena, anything you want to see me unbox on one of these lives, I encourage it. The only rule, don't spend a lot of money, and I mean that. I mean that, because this is meant for to be fun. I don't want, I do this show so you guys can kind of relax and chill. I do not want to see you guys spending a lot of money. However, if there's an interesting candy or interesting toy from your childhood, something that will make us nostalgic and feel good, and for me to share it on a live, by all means, my the Candle Enthusiast PO box is going to be in the description of all of my videos. So I unfortunately just got a big blast of sunlight. So I'm going to move the camera. And what happened to Santa Claus? Man, can never, he always makes a scene, this guy. All right, let me do this. Oh, man. The wonderful things about filming out on the porch. That's not that bad. Getting close. This is a really nice box. Beautiful custom box here. The company name is Ardent Flame. And we have this very interesting, I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but this geometric spiral that's kind of like a conical spiral. It's kind of like a nautilus spiral. And it says quality soy candles, handcrafted in the US of A. And this box, also another nice choice. It's pinstriped, but you know, quick glance, that kind of looks as if like paneling, like wood paneling. This looks so far like I'm opening up like a luxury candle. So if it's not, you know, let's say, you know, if it, when I say luxury candle, I don't mean the quality of the candle. I usually mean luxury candle means like it's marked up about 5 times than it should cost. Dear Shane, I hope you are doing well and that this candle makes safely. I'm glad that you are interested in reviewing the candle. Here are a few key details about the product. The candle is made in America with 100% soy wax and a lead zinc free wick. It is crafted for a strong, cold, and hot scent throw, and it comes in an 8-ounce jar. The candle is for sale exclusively on Amazon at the moment. I included the direct link to the product page in my email to you, but I have printed it here for you as well. Caramel Coffee Bean. Caramel Coffee Bean is the only scent I am offering for now, but new scents are in development. Hope you enjoy. Sincerely, Connor Reed of Ardent Flame. Thank you so much, Connor. I will take this link right there. If you're only watching this live, you can try to make that out, but I'm going to put that in the description of this video. It's uploaded, meaning about an hour after the live is complete. Yeah, I would type that out right now, and maybe I will at the end, but I want to get into the candle here. So he's only making one candle at the moment, but it's exclusively on sale at Amazon. It is in perfect shape. All right. I wonder if we can better focus because we're outside. Gotta hide my face. The webcam, it sees a face, it focuses on it. You're not gonna get a sharp focus, but we can see it says Ardent Flame, Caramel Coffee Bean, and 8-ounce, 100% soy wax. That's big. Just because a candle says soy wax doesn't mean it's 100%. Always remember that. Sometimes it's not even the majority. Handcrafted in the USA. All right, caramel coffee bean. You guys know how I feel about coffee beans. always looking for authentic coffee. I unscrew this lightly. And no joke. It's all up and it's all up in the face. I can smell this thing. Woo, that is a bright light. It's gonna take a little bit of time. Let that open up. You see what I'm doing here? Don't go to the fragrance sometimes. Sometimes let the fragrance come to you. I'm completely serious. Especially when a candle's been closed up for a long time. See, right now, doing this, I'm smelling what is underneath the coffee because the coffee was dominating the aroma. I would say, when I first smelled it, that there was a natural nuttiness to the coffee bean, but not nutty like there's nuts in here, or nutty as in that there's caramel in here. But after a few seconds, this caramel or toffee, what are those called? The like Hershey's Golden Nuggets. These sell them at Christmas time. I think they're in the shape of a pentagon. I don't know. They have the little, just kind of like Toblerone, but I think Toblerone has nougat. There's like the little crunchy toffee. Or if you want to think of like a Heath bar. So a seriously big blast of coffee bean coming through at first. It's the first thing I smell. But what happens is, and what will happen even more when this candle is lit, is that as the coffee disperses, and it, you know, your house is not going to smell like this. As the coffee disperses, that really salty, buttery toffee / caramel will come through. It's coming through like a caramel syrup. If they make toffee syrup, they have to make. I would say that. I think another important thing to say is butterscotch. So, and those three things go together because they're made with the same ingredients. They go together very well. Caramel, toffee, butterscotch. And as far as I said, this doesn't smell like a cup of coffee. It's really emulating like ground coffee. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I swear I've heard, this is not a joke, I've heard the Folgers coffee jingle in my ear. At least, not in my ear, I guess in my head, several times since I started smelling this. And I'm not trying to compare this to like, you know, low-cost grocery store coffee, but there is a very, the visceral and mental images, I guess, the feelings and the images of like having that of coffee and peeling off like the aluminum foil. And please don't think I'm comparing this to Taster's Choice. Taster's Choice is what my dad would drink years ago. And, you know, back when it came in like a glass jar with like, you know, aluminum lid. You remember the ads of the guy drinking the coffee with the black background? So crazy, but very nostalgic. I seriously want to commend Connor. I'm not sure. I mean, he's the owner of Ardent Flame. I don't know if he's joining us today. Maybe he's here in the comments. But I wonder if he actually constructs the candle and actually works with the fabrication and the mixology of the candle, because I really want to commend Ardent Flame for holding back a little bit, not completely, but just being restrained from saying, well, let's add more caramel, let's add more caramel, let's add more caramel, because 9 out of 10 times that's what people do, and suddenly the candle becomes caramel with coffee, where this is certainly coffee. Beautiful. I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it. I want to say like butterscotch, caramel, coffee, or toffee, butterscotch liqueur. Like it just has this. When I smell it, I perceive it as a much lesser viscous thing than like really syrupy caramel. It's more of like a liqueur. Liqueurs. Not Kahlua. What is the other coffee liqueur, guys? If anyone can figure out the one I'm thinking of, I will give you a high five. That's the only thing I can afford. Ooh. But maybe it's not the caramel liqueur. Maybe my mind was trying to tell me coffee liqueur, which makes a whole lot more sense. I don't know. This is a really good, really well executed candle. I was expecting this to be far more of a sweet, decadent candle because caramel, coffee bean, but this really, it should be coffee bean, caramel. The coffee comes first. The coffee is big and it's loud, and it's a gentle giant though, because it is filled with those feel-good, nostalgic coffee memories of the past, whether going to those old coffee shops with your parents, your grandparents, the way Dunkin' Donuts used to be long back in the day, or going to the diner and ordering a cup of coffee and maybe having something with maple syrup on it, or a dessert with caramel on it, maybe even some vanilla here too. In fact, that's something that I think I was trying to get to. Was I remember I used to go to this soft serve ice cream place in the summertime, and they would pipe in. Did you guys ever have this in the butterscotch or the caramel in the swirly cone? It's that distinct kind of like sauce. Recently, I've had Washington Wicks Coffee Aroma, Silver Moon Candle Company's coffee fragrance, both dynamite, and no exception here. So big thumbs up, Connor, for this candle. If you really want a coffee candle that's not loaded with sweeteners, vanilla powders, whatever else they do at some of these coffee shops. Also, if you're not into, let me just check real quick. Yeah, this would work for, I was gonna say, this is more of a cup of, like coffee. It's ground coffee, but not ground espresso beans. And I kind of take that, I didn't really say it, but I would take that back if I had. Because I can see this being definitely both espresso bean and coffee bean. What I will do is I will feature this again on another live. I will burn this candle, and we'll talk about it even further as far as its instruments. But either way, I want to just a huge shout out and a big thank you to Connor. Make sure you check out the description below for the link. exclusive to Amazon. It's only where you're going to find it, and it sounds as if, you know, he's gearing up to create more fragrances, to create more candles. So I'm guessing, you know, small batch candle company, the kind of folks we want to support, and very nicely packaged too. I think that is a very important thing to mention. 8 ounce, 100% soy wax, caramel coffee bean by Ardent Flame. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, so what are we talking about now? Well, I just want to mention that we are getting pretty darn close to being sold out of the flash drive, the Candle Enthusiast flash drive of exclusivity. What on earth? Some of you have heard this before, some of you have not. But let's you guys what I'm talking about. So if you go to patreon.com, not patron.com, Patreon, link in the description. And you go to patreon.com/the Candle Enthusiast. It'll take you to the main page here. This is big. This is big. This, in my heart, in my kind of, as I foresaw when I first started this channel, this was the year. This was going to be the biggest year for the Candle Enthusiasts. We're always going to have our little lives, you know, where we're sitting here and chat because we've become friends after all this time. But the Candle Enthusiast is not meant to be live streamed sitting at home, not even candle evaluations. Aromatic Adventures with the Candle Enthusiast was always supposed to be a travel destination show where aroma plays a large part of the theme. It's kind of living life with using aromatic as the compass, looking at the world every day, wherever we go, using our noses. No one's ever done it. No one even tries to do it. That might mean it's a bad idea, but I don't think it is. I think we're onto something. Why is there no wine show on TV? Why would the Food Network never put a wine show on the roster for the daily programming? Not because there's a lack of wine fans. They could do cocktails, they could do wine, they could do all bunch of different content on beverages. They don't, because food looks delicious when you see it. Your mouth waters. Wine is white, red, or pink, right? So it's hard to create content, visual content. Base, you know, is going to be heavily based on aromatics and taste. So the way you fix that is that you create that smell-o-vision, that very intense, specific visual connection through communication between memories and aromatics. That is what I want to do with this travel destination show. So Aromatic Adventures needs, at least at this point in the game, it needs to be funded. I'm doing my very best to fund 2020. I'm pretty close, but there's some things I'm going to have to cut out if we simply can't get the funds together. So donations, pledges, any way you can help, and if you can't, best friends, not best friends, that's an inappropriate way to put it. We're still good buddies. We could be best friends. You never know. If you're in a position to donate $1 a day, or $1 a month, $3 a month, you have no idea how much of a difference that would make. I have close to 6,000 subscribers. 6,000 subscribers. If everyone donated $1 a month, that would fund an entire year of weekly aromatic adventures. An entire year, not a season, an entire year of videos. $1. So when people say $1 doesn't really matter, it does. And $3 means that much more. But I don't want people spending more money than they have. That's really important to me. I'd rather 100 people donate $1 than one person donate $100. Trust me, emotionally, it would make me just feel a whole lot better, and it takes the pressure off me for putting your money at risk with every single video I make. But we currently are at $275 a month on Patreon. And just to put that into perspective, back in 2017, when I was far more active, because 2018 was a pretty, it was a pretty down year for me personally. I lost my father, other hurdles in my life. I just didn't have the strength and really the money of my own to go out and invest into new videos. In 2019 was kind of similar, but in 2017 we had $900 a month coming in monthly. 275. I need to make this the best year we have seen so far. More time at inns all across New England. If you found me, or if you enjoy the Norman Rockwell, the Red Lion Inn video, more vlogs of that style, immersive, unscripted experiences with that heartwarming feel of the holidays surrounding the hook of the video, haunted attractions, Halloween, and October farmers markets, haunted houses, but not just Halloween and Christmas, right? I want to start ASAP. I am starting ASAP. I'm already working on several videos, already have several plans that were postponed because of COVID that I'm going to be moving on to very soon. There's going to be a brand new in-depth Salem, Massachusetts video this year. There's going to be brand new Lake George, at least 2 videos from Lake George this year, but there's much bigger ideas that I've kept secret to this day, and I don't want to say it because if I don't do it, I feel like it'll be a huge disappointment. So let's see if we can let's have a little bit of experiment. I'm not going to look to see who, but if you're watching this, and if you can, completely anonymous here, if you can, as little as $1 a month, see this grow a little bit. If we can get this monthly number up from $275 to say, like even $500 a month, it's going to make a difference. If you don't want to be a part of the Patreon tier system, because there's a whole bunch of tiers, it's kind of like PBS. The higher you go, the more rewards you get. I say that because it was actually why I started this thing, and this whole thing in the first place was that the flash drive of exclusivity is an 18 gigabyte hard drive that is sent to you monthly with never before seen deleted footage, vlogging myself from the earliest days of the Candle Enthusiast. I went way to the hard drives, picked the earliest stuff. All of those videos I made had such great material that just had to be cut out because it just for one reason or another didn't fit into the video for the final video to be uploaded. But through discovering this old footage, I compiled tons of video material. The first volume is over an hour of footage, bloopers. There's deleted scenes, like fully edited segments that were deleted. There's photos. There's even the Candle and soundtrack, all of the music that I've used. a great little playlist where you can pop that in the car when you're driving, if you care to do so. There's some good music that I used, even though some of it's very stock music sounding. But that's $29 a month. It's a big investment. That's like 2 Netflixes, but I'm trying to keep them heavy with content. I think over an hour of footage is pretty fun. If you really do like my vicarious travel experiences, it's something you might want to check out. And then once I get through all of my deleted footage, which will take forever because there's tons of things I filmed in the 2017, 18, and 19 that I never used. Tons of stuff trying to incorporate not only old footage, but I'm taking footage now. Like I'm out when, I was doing a video, I was filming a video, a candle evaluation yesterday that it's one of my biggest candle evaluations that I've done in a couple of years, as far as lighting and amount of editing and the scripting and the speed of the whole video, really trying to set the tone for the candle evaluation that I'm making. But I had the camera rolling the whole time on the side, just kind of talking to the camera. So it's like a true behind the scenes experience. I'm going to try to include that stuff as much as possible too. And just daily vlogs, just going out and doing stuff. Maybe it's not good enough for a video to post, but it's definitely for a vicarious inclusion on the flash drive of exclusive. Patreon.com/thecandleenthusiast. Check it out. There's plenty of tiers. What's most important here is that we have a collective coming together of the candle enthusiast community and just helping out in any way you can. $1. That's it. That's all I really want. If this live translated into 3 people donating $1 a month, I would consider that a huge mean that. So thank you for putting up with my promotions for these live streams. They're always very hard for me to do because I do not want these lives or the candle enthusiasts to be about making money, raising money, and that stuff, but to be a responsible YouTuber, filmmaker, you need to do it. You gotta sell the t-shirts, you gotta sell the merchandise, you gotta take the pledges, because there are no investors, there's no backers, and if I'm doing this full time, I can only donate so much of my own money, like I did for years, doing this completely funded by myself. So with that said, I want to thank everyone for, oh my God, and I just went back into the chat area. Woo! Thank you so much. Omega says, Shane, help Santa. Leslie Pethybridge, thank you for always supporting me and my small batch candle company, Silver Moon Candle Company, the Leslie. The Leslie of the candle community, that's who I'm addressing, and who super chatted $20. Omega, we see $2, and Shona with £5. Thank you for doing what you do. Wishing you luck with what is to come. That truly is the best wish. So thank you, because what is to come is something that I'm very much looking forward to. Thank you for those super chats. I never even think to ask for super chats because, again, I don't want to ask people for money. Do you really think someone as passionate as I am wants to ask people for money? No, I'm not a salesman. I've been fired as a salesman many times. I couldn't even sell wine because as much as I love wine, I do it because I kept telling the customers, buy this. It's so much better and it's so much cheaper. My manager did not like that. But I appreciate the gestures so much. So everyone have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Please, please, please take care of yourself and as many others as you can with everything that's going on. There's many things going on, but please do what you can to help. It's not so much about what you say, It's really more about what you do. Let's face it, we all know that, right? They tell us that in elementary school. So let's do a little less talk, or let's do a little less talking, but action. I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that. Just take care of yourself and people. That's all I want to say. And just remember, live enthusiastically, support positivity, live by those 2 rules. I've been living by those 2 rules for 4+ years now. It's worked for me. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but it's really working out for me. Live enthusiastically and support positivity. 2 big rules. Thanks so much, and happy close to, it's summer. It's summer, even though we're talking about autumn and Halloween today. Everyone take care of yourselves. I will see you hopefully sooner than next Sunday with a brand new, fully edited 8-candle candle evaluation, perhaps on the main channel, the Candle Enthusiast. Keep an eye open for that. Killer clowns from outer space. Fun video to make. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye now.